in any country, the registrar's office keeps all the records, like IDs, birth certificates, and so forth. When I started to file my application, I went over to the registrar's office to ask for my birth certificate. And you pay $10 fee for what they call it, for research. So they started at 9 o'clock to look into the records through until about 2 o'clock. They claimed they did not find it. Are you sure you have a birth certificate? I said, I've always traveled. Since 1969, I've gone overseas, back and forth. And I have my birth certificate, I have my national ID, and my passport. How can you not find it? No, we cannot find it. So, and then I told them I need to go and register right now, the nomination court. And it's just did it until 4 o'clock. Then they said, well, now we've decided that since you never had a birth certificate, we're going to issue one. So they issued me a birth certificate for the first time, right? So I took that and I ran over to the nomination court, and because it was after 4, they said we were closed, but they were still there. They said we've closed, so we cannot accept your application. I told them, I said, I was delayed by one of the government agencies, the registrar's office. Here's a letter to prove that. They say it doesn't matter. Now we have to appeal to the higher courts to get permission. So it was like a scam. That's how that one fell apart. But I was very upset because the registrar's office is supposed to keep records for everybody. And so in their book, that means I don't exist in Zimbabwe. Yet, as I said, I've had my birth certificate since the 60s. So next time, as you said, what is my strategy? I don't have any strategy. I'm going to go there the 14th, whatever the day, and ask for my birth certificate from them. If they cannot find it, I'm going to tell them, oh, I know what to do. I won't disclose my strategy, but I will not be denied my opportunity to run, because to do so is also to deny the people of Zimbabwe an opportunity to choose the president of their choice. And that's just downright unfair. It is interesting that Mr. Mnangagwa himself, just I think a week ago, said, oh, I'm surprised that you go to the police for anything, there's corruption. Then you go to the judiciary system, there's corruption. I said, Mr. Mnangagwa, is he serious? That he's surprised that there's corruption everywhere. So I think there are jokes in this country. Anyway, as it is, you probably know the story. I have had to, I'm suing the government because they just deprived me of my opportunity to win. I also know one thing. When they saw the name Muzorewa there, they knew that this was a bombshell. Because I was going to do something. I know that for sure. There is no doubt about that. There is no doubt that this was a deliberate thing. I know that in every government agency there are C10s. They are there everywhere. I know that. I mean, that's okay. But for that instance, they really knew that this guy is a viable candidate, and if we let him run, he may mess up our game. Which was going to happen, by the way. People did not want, a lot of people did not want to vote for Zanu-PF. They were tired of MDC, which they vote for it, and when it's time to get in, they cannot get in. So they wanted a fresh candidate who is sure to win. I was the one. So there was a big strategy.
So do you think, is it not the rightful time for you now maybe to start putting things in place so that such an incident will not happen?
My friend, to tell you the truth, when the judge in the High Court said, you are supposed to keep your birth certificate on you always, I challenged, I said, ridiculous. I keep my driver's license on me always, I keep my national ID on, but birth certificate, no. I produce it when it's required, and if I cannot produce it, I go straight to the registrar's office and get a copy in minutes. That's why the office is there. So I'm not gonna keep my birth certificate everywhere I go. No, you don't do that. You only need to produce your birth certificate when on a special occasion. You know, on your birth, and maybe on your marriage, and on your death. Mr. Mnangagwa may be doing some things that I wanted to do, maybe because we all wanted to turn around the economy. Okay. However, you know the difference now is that he's not able to deliver, and I could have delivered. You see, that's the difference. And also, I know I could have delivered because in 79, the UANC ran and won by a clear majority, uncontested. Okay, and then when they were in government, they delivered. People were happy. Then of course we had to drop everything to go to Lancaster House in order to bring everybody into the country. You know the story. But there are some things that he does that I wouldn't do. For example, I would not stuff my cabinet with military people. I would stuff my cabinet with civilians, with technocrats, and so forth. Those are some differences. Another thing is that I know for sure that if I had won, the Western world would have rushed to Zimbabwe knowing our history, knowing the history of the UANC. They would have flooded the market. We would now fighting for jobs all over the place. But right now, we are looking for jobs and not finding them.
How is your relationship with the Western world so far?
I left this country after high school and I went to the United States. That's where I did my bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD. I am, in terms of academic work, I am Western trained. I understand democracy more than the majority of people who have just, who have a sense of democracy from reading. I have a sense of democracy from living it out. For example, I know that I'm supposed to support my government. I'm supposed to pay my taxes because that's how the government is run. In this country, paying taxes is why do I have to pay taxes? Okay, sometimes you question that because you don't see the benefits. That's why some people say, you know, paying taxes is a rip-off. People avoid toll gates because they don't see the benefits. In the sense, I look forward to paying my toll gate because I know these are the people who fix the roads. I understand that. Most importantly, I understand the importance of human rights. In this country, human rights is really often compromised. There's, you know, they give you your right if it's convenient. In a democratic country, you have no choice. Everybody follows the Constitution. No one is above the law. But in Zimbabwe, apparently there are some people who are above the law. They do whatever they want to do, for example. And that's unfortunate. Then one by one. Economically, we all know that we are in a mess. And we are in a mess because the Western world that Mr. Mnangagwa expected to invest in Zimbabwe has folded their arms because they do not trust what's going on here. Okay? And that they do not trust what's going on here because there is that unhealthy mixture of military presence within the government. And Westerners don't like that. They know that a dictator can always, you know, do something that is unconstitutional and there's nothing you can do. So economically, we are really having a rough time because we don't have what it takes to trade. Like we are not exporting anything. The reason we have a shortage of cash in Zimbabwe is because we are not manufacturing anything. Agriculture is down. So if you don't produce, you don't get. So economically, the difference would come if there was a government that facilitates farmers, because farmers should always be subsidized, you know. They should get money, they should get equipment to do farming. In Zimbabwe, even if they try to subsidize, it's done in a selective way. For example, only a few people have many tractors. The rest of the people who are supposed to farm have no equipment. So how can they produce? Okay, so socially, I think people in Zimbabwe are now disenchanted, in my opinion. People, they don't seem to see the country going in any direction except downwards. And so they are saying, what's the use of voting? What's the use of this and that? But the Zimbabweans, I appreciate Zimbabweans, they are hardworking people, very hardworking people. Because I always am amazed how people are making it when there are no jobs. Now 85% unemployment means poverty. But people of Zimbabwe are still struggling. They are still alive, okay? The worst thing that I want to comment on economically is that many people in Zimbabwe, most people in Zimbabwe don't earn US dollar. But, you know, they earn the RTGS thing. But they're expected to buy goods using the US dollar. How does that happen? What does the government think the people are going through? You know, maybe they don't care. But what I know, my summary about that whole thing is that the government is really encouraging people to be corrupt. You have to, when you get your RTGS, you have to go in and buy the US dollar in order to buy a prescription for, you know, for your medicine, you know? Is that how we should trade? Why doesn't the government just legalize? This is now my message for you guys. The government should legalize, should dollarize the economy. That becomes the currency for the country. There are many countries that have done that. Panama is a good example. They work with the US dollar. And it is one of the best economies in the world, even though it's in the third world, because they are using the US dollar. Why don't we do that, since we don't have our money? But the reason we don't do it is because there are a few people who are benefiting from this kind of a double currency. You see, there are some people who sell petrol at 8 RTGs, right? And then they go and they claim from the bank, like if they sell at $8, they're gonna collect $8 US. That's, you can see what's happening there. So corruption is the summary of all this. There's still corruption in Zimbabwe. And I'm sorry to say that I think people, or as much as Mr. Mnangagwa talks of doing away with corruption, I don't think it's working. People know more than that. Yeah, he just commissioned a lady as the commissioner for anti-corruption. That's a joke. It means nothing. If people know that at the top there's corruption, they're gonna continue to be corrupt. Okay. There are two things. Personally, I've discouraged my party from these so-called coalitions because it's a mixed bag of people who are sponsored by government and the people who are genuinely an opposition party. So for that I say, the UNC is going to remain what it is. We don't want to be spoiled by anybody. We're going to build our party. Right now I got 2 years to build my party to the point where it's going to be so strong that we welcome others, but we don't need them. Okay, we can receive, say, the MDC people. By the way, a lot of MDC people are coming to us now. Okay, and we're going to receive them, but we don't want to depend on their vote. Okay, the UANC has its integrity from way back there. We are known to win without having to have a coalition. It's nice to work together. I'm on record as having labeled that a political filibuster. What that means is Mnangagwa is using these other leaders to boost his position. The Zanu-PF system, by definition, is not going to listen to these political parties who lost anyway. Okay, but they are using this to say to the outside world, see, we got the rest of the opposition party people with us, but this Nelson Chamisa who is refusing to join us. So so these guys are being used. I'm sorry, and I've told them. I said the dialogue is serving one purpose: to feed you at the president's house, to hotel you in plush places, and that's about it. And then to boost Mr. Mnangagwa's status, but he has no results for us. What he has done right?
Yeah.
What he has done right is to remove the police from the roads. That's a good thing. I would have done that too. What also he has done right is to say, is to be the president. He has not abdicated the seat. He's still the president, in spite of all the forces, you know. So, but if that is any good to Zimbabwe, I don't know.